Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you, wherever you are watching from. Welcome to Healing Hearts Journey. My name is Comfort Olanureti Adedibe, and I am your host on Mental Health Matters. Today, we want to talk about how to stop yelling and shouting. In our last video, we talked about anger and how we can manage anger. And there we promised that we shall be releasing another video that will talk about yelling. So today we want to talk about yelling and how we can stop yelling. Yelling is using a harsh or aggressive tone to convey a message. Before we dive into the topic of today, I want us to talk about one or two stories that happened to someone and that is very relevant to this issue of yelling, shouting as a result of anger. You know that yelling and shouting is born out of emotional feeling of anger, aggression, hostility, and so on and so forth. So this story is a life event. It's a life event. It happened to someone, and it was that person that was sharing his testimony. So the story is about an elderly man who came out to give a testimony in a particular church. And he gave glory to God for God's intervention in his life by releasing him from prison. And he shared his story on how he ended in the prison. So what happened was he was at a football viewing center, to watch a football match as usual. So there was an argument in the course of the football match. He was supporting a certain club team while the other person was supporting the opposition club team. And so while the argument heated, he simply pushed the other fellow. that was contradicting his team. Flat on the ground. Immediately the fellow died in the spot. And one thing led to another. He was arrested and in prison for 40 years. By the time he was sharing his experience or his testimony in the church, he was 67 years. In other words, he had spent 40 years of his life in prison as a result of reaction to an emotional feeling of defeat. Probably he was feeling defeated. So, another story is about a lady who was yelling at a man in the public. So no one knew what was the cause of the yelling or probably the chaos. Nobody knew what went wrong between them. But she kept on raining curses, making angry gestures, and shouting at the man. Initially the man did not say anything. The man kept it cool and didn't say anything back. It was much of a threat either. The man made a sudden move, reacting to what the other lady was doing. We probably do not know what he wanted to do, whether he want to slap the lady, maybe he want to calm her down. But mistakenly, his finger went straight into the eyeball and popped the eyes out. The lady that was actually yelling and shouting before now has to pack her plugged out eyeball with her two hands. So as people were trying to get her to the nearest hospital, at that time, other emotions would have set in. It would be the emotion of pain now, emotion of regrets, and emotion of unforgiving. The man did not initially wanted to do anything, I am sure. He just wanted to respond to the yelling of the lady and see how it ended. Emotions go a long way in determining how successful, peaceful, fulfilling a life can be. If you can't manage your emotions properly, they certainly have damaging effect on the life of that individual. There's what we call emotional intelligence, emotional stability. Let's talk about emotional stability, which has been proven by researchers as a determining factor in how successful one can be. And it is more weighted than the IQ, that is intelligent quotient. So your emotional quotient, EQ, can determine how your life can be more successful, even than your intelligence quotient. To better understand emotions, you need to deal with the root cause. It is not the emotion that is the problem, because we are humans and we emote. So it is normal and it is part of us to feel angry, to have emotional feelings. It is normal. The emotion that we feel is actually not the problem. If I feel angry, that's not the problem. If I feel frustrated at that point in time, that might not really be the problem. The problem is the root cause of that frustration, that particular emotion that we need to deal with. Deal with it even from the root. So what actually is getting you to be overwhelmed? What is getting you to have that emotional feeling of anger, of frustration that can lead you to shouting and yelling? What is actually getting you to fight and yell back? What is causing you to overreact? That root cause is what we are actually trying to deal with, not the emotion itself. Because emotions are okay. Emotions are normal. Emotions are good. It is what we do with this emotion that is the problem. So emotions coaching focuses on helping us to manage and expressing our emotions in an effective manner. If you're able to control your emotion, there is no way you will yell or shout. But most times as human, all these impulses, take over us, and we are unable, to control that impulse at that time. So we have the impulse driving reaction and the value driving reaction. Most of this reaction we take is the impulse driving reaction. We want to just react immediately. We don't think them through as we are being triggered. We just react impulsively without thinking about the consequences of that reaction. If that man had not reacted by pushing that other man, he would never have been in prison. He didn't go there for just one day. He spent 40 years of his life in that prison. You can imagine what that reaction cost him. When you react based on your impulse, you are given an impulsive driving reaction. And impulse driving reactions are the ones that get us into trouble, that we regret, that we cannot change what we have said, that the reaction that has led to death can never be reversed. So when we allow the emotion to control us, we say we can control that emotion. We say we have allowed that emotion to overrule us. The only way to master and control this impulsive reaction, by taking a second or two to think about the reaction we want to give. If at that time that man thought of, if I push this man, anything can happen, he would not have done it. So I think the problem we have is the what we do in between that provocation and our reaction. You can decide to be calm. You can decide to do something else rather than go into violence whenever you are under these emotions. Instead of you yelling and shouting, instead of you pushing, instead of you going to violence, you can think of what to do, and that will help you. We tend to react to things based on our impulse rather than thinking them through at the initial stage. So that is the problem with emotion. We have to think it through at the point of provocation, at the point where our emotions are triggered. Then we need to put thinking into action as fast as possible. Weigh the pros and cons of that reaction you are about to put up. So there are 3 things that we should know about emotion. Number one is that emotion can be controlled. It is when we cannot control it that it becomes a problem. It can lead to domestic violence, abusive family relationship, all those things. So, but you can't control your emotion. Some people believe they can't control it. And so they just, release themselves to whatever comes out of them at that time of provocation. But I'm telling you, you can't control your emotion. You can tame it. There is one word, common sentence in emotional intelligence. They will tell you that you name your feelings, you name your emotion so you can tame it. Name it to tame it. So you can tame that emotions. They are feeling, you are feeling, you can tame it. Because the moment you are feeling about something, you quickly look at what is this thing? You quickly give it a name. Fine. Something just trigger you, but you don't know why. You just feel this feeling of anger. So you quickly name it. Is it the feeling of, okay, it's because of this thing? The moment you are able to name it, you'll be able to tame it and take action within the few seconds before you respond. Then emotion is our choice. The way we react to emotions or no is our choice. You either react or you respond. If your response is calm, is calmness, fine. Then if you decide to, go violent, it is also your choice. So these three things are important to know when we talk about emotion. They can be controlled if we deliberately work on it. Tell yourself, that during any provocation, you can count 1 to 3 seconds before reacting. I think that helps a lot. It helps a lot. Fine. At the point of provocation, just you can close your eyes, calm down, and count 1, 2, 3. Within that period you are counting, think what you can do that will not be violent, and that will help you to overcome anger, overcome yelling, overcome shouting. There are 3 ways to deal with emotions. This self-awareness means that you should be aware and be conscious of your emotions, because a lot of people live allowing emotions to rule them. They are not aware of their emotion. Even sometimes they cannot even name the kind of feelings they have. They cannot name the kind of emotions they feel at any point in time. So when you are conscious and you are aware of this kind of emotion, you know how to handle it. The emotion I can feel, the emotion I'm feeling, how am I feeling it? What am I feeling? These are questions you should ask yourself, so that it's that so that you have the awareness of, okay, why am I feeling like this? Why am I feeling like this? Why is this feeling coming? When you are able to ask yourself this question, then you'll be able to name that particular emotion. And when you name it, you can tame it. Another one is self-regulation. How do I regulate my emotion so that this emotion will not be the one controlling me? If you can't regulate your emotion, that is, you can move from one point to another with your emotions, then it will control you. But when you are able to regulate it, then you are good to go. Another one is empathy. Empathy is when you recognize and understand the emotions of other people. Some people will say, I just want to speak my mind. And as you are speaking your mind, you are hurting another person. Are you able to recognize that the emotion that someone else is feeling, fine, that person that has behaved that way, that has provoked you, you never can tell whether he or she is going through some terrible things, beyond what you are feeling at that point in time. So when you have empathy, you are able to calm your emotion. You are able to weigh what you want to say to other people. You are able to weigh your reaction at that time of provocation. And so when you are able to do this, you know that you have put empathy, in place. Because most times the person going on your nerves is actually going through their own emotions too. So when emotion comes collide with emotion, you know what it can lead to. So all these 3 things are very important. 3 ways people respond to emotions. Let's look at that. Number 1 is that you must dismiss your responses. Dismissing responses. When some people don't understand the right response to a certain emotion, so they prefer to dismiss it and don't talk about it. Not because they are the problem, but because they don't understand how to tend to the emotion. and they rather don't talk about it. That is, some people will just flee. We have 4 or 5 types of responses to emotions. We have the flight, the flee, the freeze, the fawn, and one other one. So all these things, all these responses. Remember that in our last video we talked about you not suppressing your emotion, that is your anger, when we spoke about anger. So another one is disapproving response. They see emotion as toxic and totally unacceptable. They see emotion as a problem. So they don't believe in themselves, in their emotion. They don't see emotions as good things. They don't believe that emotion is inbuilt and it is part of their lives, but that they just only need to control it. So this set of people just disapprove their emotion. Another one is loose free reaction. They see every type of emotion acceptable, whether they beat people to death, whether they do anything, they go with the flow. They just accept it as it's coming, and they just give it back the way it's coming, and don't have an opinion of their own. They don't have opinion of their own. They are just there. Some people, have you not seen some people fighting in the street? People are just coming. They don't know what is the cause of the fight or whatever. They will just join. They will pick bottles. They will begin to do all these things. I wonder, because, and at the end of the day, when you ask them, they will be the ones to say, what is even the cause of the fight? And if care is not taken, such fights, could just spread and cause, public problems and whatever. So 3 faster ways to conquer our emotions are: we have to distress. When you are feeling stressed up, find a way to distress. If it is a person that is causing you distress, then you need to walk away from the person. If you have tried everything and it's not working with the person, then you walk away. And that is the way to distress. If you are not meeting up with your deadline, your targets, then sit down and look for a way of meeting it up, or talking to your boss or whoever you are working with, to just look at what you can do to distress at that point in time. Because the moment you begin to bottle up those emotions that, oh, I'm not meeting the deadline, I'm not meeting the target, you begin to feel negative emotions, that can trigger anger, yelling, or shouting at you. So sleep is a good way to do distress. When you are stressed up, sleep. If you are not sleeping deeply, you can just lie down. And when you are lying down, keep your mind at rest. Another one is swimming. Is another way you can distress with swimming if you know how to swim. Declutter. Filter your mind. Because if you bottle up all this emotion, it has damaging effects. Declutter your space too. If anyone in your space is causing you, negative emotion, the emotional instability that is making you to shout, to yell, then declutter your space. You need to have your space tidy and well kept. Another thing is that when you are stressed up and you need to declutter, you can tidy up your room. Personally, that's my life. When I am stressed and I enter my room and it's scattered, it will trigger me. I will lose it immediately. So what I do is that I declutter. I will declutter immediately. Keep tidy up your room. You know that when you look at things, disorganized environment, the place you are living is not even where you can lay your head and smell nice aroma or whatever. Everywhere is just jam-packed. It will affect you. So declutter your space, tidy up, and keep well your environment, because this affects our mindfulness. Another thing is that we should rest. Factor rest into your daily activities. When you rest your brain will reset. Without rest, you are not in charge of your emotions. And some people provoke you intentionally. They provoke you intentionally. They just want to see your reaction. They like you when you are yelling and shouting. They like you when you are crying. They like you when you are looking gloomy. They like you when you are down. So instead of you reacting, shouting and yelling, to all these people, please, let's go of past grudges and pain and rest your brain, sleep well, declutter, distress, and do all these things. And you will see that you will have emotional stability. Now, before we conclude today, let's quickly look at ways to stop yelling and shouting. Number 1 is calmness. You need to be calming down. like that popular saying, be calming down. Calmness is good. When somebody is provoking you, do you know what you can do? At that time, you are calming down and you are counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Before you finish counting that 6, and you are saying it out. Calm down. You know, there was a day I was highly provoked and I was just, oh, no, calm down. As I was saying it, because this voice, there's what we call voice therapy in therapy. Voice therapy, that is your own voice. You are talking to yourself. It's highly therapeutic, because as I'm listening to myself and I'm telling myself to calm down, it brings, a lot of calmness into my mind, into my space, my inner man and everything. So calmness is what you do, at the point of provocation. Counting your sins and calm down through that time. Another thing is like you smile. I love some people. Whether the heaven is falling, they are smiling. What a privilege, what a virtue. Learn to smile, even in situations that are unpleasant, even when things are going wrong, you are smiling. And so, smile is one of their makeup kits. Yes, it's just their makeup kit. You see them smiling. I know a particular woman of God, she always smiles. There was a day I was saying, how does it mean this woman is not going through anything in life? Every time she's just smiling. That means she has seen smile as one of what she should use for her to have emotional stability. Some people like that cannot start shouting and yelling, because they don't, you can't see anybody smiling that will not be playing. They will be playing. So when they are playing, they are cracking jokes and all that. They can't yell because it will calm them down. So people like us that doesn't know how to smile all the time, we should learn how to smile so that we'll stop yelling and shouting. Then mindfulness. Mindfulness is another thing. You have to be mindful of your environment. You have to be conscious of where you are. When you are practicing mindfulness, you can do mindfulness you can walk mindfulness, you can do exercise mindfulness. When you are doing this, you can do gardening mindfulness. When you are doing this, you are just conscious of the flowers you are raising, and you are looking at the grasses, and when you are doing walking mindfulness, you are conscious of the fact that you are marching a ground, and when you are just mindful, you will not have wandering spirits, and it will make you stable emotionally. Then you should be aware of what makes you happy. There are some things that you do that makes you happy. One of the things that makes me happy is doing this video. Even when I'm going through a lot of things, I still want to do the video because I know it's touching one or two lives outside there. So do things that will make you happy. So today we are going to conclude by reminding you that you should practice mindful gardening, mindful walking, noticing every sensation and every feeling you get from what you are doing. Are you happy doing it? Mindful. You can practice mindfulness by doing mindful driving. You can do painting. You can do anything. Peace of mind is a skill. Please try as much as possible to practice peace. Let there be peace around you. Let there be peace within you. That is, have inner peace. All this will help you to stop shouting and yelling. Thank you for watching this video. If this one has helped you in one way or the other, I'm very sure it would have helped you, because even as I am talking, it's helping me too. So I know it will help you. Please like, please share and comment. We are waiting for your feedback, because we know that will make us better each day. Thank you for watching. See you in our next video.